Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Starting out with picking out some lot traits here, which unfortunately didn't remove that little shiny house icon in the corner, so if you have any other ideas on how to get rid of that, please let me know, because it's really annoying and I don't like it. Today's video, as you've seen, is significantly longer than most of, well, my tutorials first of all, but also significantly longer than most build videos I post, but I have a pretty good reason for that. I built 4 mushrooms. That is a lot of round walls, and I ran into a lot of issues. So I wanted to make sure that I showed you all the issues I ran into, as well as had some time to talk through what I did or what I didn't do, how I worked around that, and also give you guys the opportunity, if you have figured out a better solution, you can let me know. Also, I probably won't edit this audio too much because it's a lot of just straight up talking, so you will be prone to hearing more of my little stumbles and fumbles and all that. But I'll do my best. Who knows, maybe I'll cut some stuff out. But yeah, building a little mushroom village for your old people. I don't usually play long enough to get old people that I have to rehome, because I either get distracted or I start building for months on end and then forget what I was doing. But I wanted to do 3 mushrooms that could be lived in, and then 1 that was sort of a community center. I did skip the roofing, and if you want to know why I skipped the roofing, pretend you're a 6th grade boy for 2 seconds, okay? So I made them all look like mushrooms, and then I started recording again. The little red roof, though, the little red roof mushroom, how I did that, which you can't see on screen right now, but you'll see it in a second. How I did that was I did a round roof and pitched it up quite a bit, and then added other smaller round roofs and turned them white and raised the pitch high enough that it would make little white spots. So that's how I did that. And then this river, I thought about doing a waterfall, but waterfalls are hard, man. They take a lot of work. So I decided to not do the waterfall. I just added that little pipe as a roof or whatever. The terrain, scaping and everything, I wanted to make sure that it looked like 3-dimensional but wasn't too intense. So what I did was I raised up the the foundations of the little mushrooms where I wanted them, and then use the flatten terrain tool to level it out at those heights. Thumbnail check, very, very important. If you are ever building, make sure that you grab, I guess you don't really grab anything, you just click the save house and you check the thumbnail, because that will give you a good idea of if your build is going to look attractive in the gallery, and that's how you're going to get downloads, is if it looks attractive, right? I put time and effort into my thumbnails and making sure they're bright and appealing so that you want to click on the video. Same thing here, you might want to tweak some colors and make sure that you're uploading it with the correct light setting of the day and all that to make sure you're really getting the best possible first impression of your build. Now here we're starting to see some of the first issues I was running into, and you can probably hear the bean singing in the background again now. He sings all the time, he reads books to himself. It's great fun, really, but he's quite loud. Some of the first issues I ran into with the round walls was placing windows. For whatever reason, I could not place them from the inside. I don't know if you saw it, where I was just making holes in the walls or what, but it was weird. I had move objects on, I had move objects off, I turned move objects back on again. Nothing seemed to help. It was a little bit easier to place them from the outside, so I did end up doing that for most of the rest of the windows on this lot, because for whatever reason, they were less likely to bug out and pounce all over the place if they were being placed from the outside. For this house over here, I don't know if this is quite mid-century, but it was the closest thing I could think of. I just put the windows all the way around. I just thought it looked kind of cool. I did technically play test, but I'll get more into that later. I just want to assure you that all of the doors, you can get in to all these houses. Yeah, this is the roof I was talking about. Yeah, it was on screen for a split second. That's just a large round roof and then a bunch of smaller round roofs sort of poking through. Ooh, now we're getting into some of the wall placement. If you saw my video about placing stairs and ladders, then what I'm about to do is going to make a little bit more sense, but I ended up just coloring the rounded parts of the floor, because remember, they don't quite act like normal floor parts. And once I had those colored in, I was trying to be oh, well, so if I just build in these lines, that'll work fine. It did not. So what I ended up having to do was get rid of all my walls, figure out where I was going to place the bathroom, and then once the bathroom was built, I could add the other walls back in. It was a whole process. It was very annoying. But I wanted to leave it in the video, even though it took a while, just to show you that even though I build all the time, I'm still really struggling with this stuff. So especially, if you're is anybody good at this? There might be some people. I'm definitely not one of them, though. This is a pain in the butt. I had fun decorating this one though. I wanted to keep that sort of like rustic theme. I wanted the theme color red, you know, for like the roof and everything. I did opt in all of the houses to put the kitchen along flat walls because I was just not interested in working with curved walls in kitchens. So the bathrooms and kitchens pretty much all align to the grid, but then the bedrooms may or may not. Well, I mean every room has a round wall, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say there. I'm also distracted by the musical genius practicing in the background here. I knew I wanted something on this wall, but I wasn't sure what, so I ended up just skipping into the bathroom. I did try to use the same toilets throughout so that hopefully Sims wouldn't be like trying to run across the lot to use the best toilet or whatever. But then the sinks and things I ended up trying to like fit best with the theme of the house that I was building. And this brings me back to the playtesting. I did technically playtest, like I came through with a little person and I was making sure that stuff worked. I had that glitch too where you like move into the lot and then you can't actually like walk inside the building. So what I ended up doing was switching to a different sim and having them visit the lot. You can do that in the worldview menu. You can click on a lot and you can choose to visit the lot, and then from there you pick a sim and you just travel. I just picked whatever random townie popped up first. So I traveled to the lot and then I was able to get inside and playtest. And everything is accessible, but not everything works. Don't really know why. Again, it's coming down, I think, to these curved rooms just not quite acting 100% like real rooms, because I could put a toilet in the middle of the room and it still wouldn't work. So there are plenty of bathrooms that do work and some bathrooms that don't work, and it's completely out of my control, so I just made it look good and moved on. If I ever use this lot in my gameplay, I will be using it as a, hey old people, I'm gonna put you here so that if you die, I can collect your graves. I know this is very straightforward, this is just how I am. If you die, I can collect your graves and your urns, and I can come visit you with the grandkids or whatever. But you're like out of the way, and I don't really have to worry about whether or not your lot functions, because we all know we can put a townie on a completely vacant lot and they will be totally fine. Like, they'll just survive somehow. So the old people will be fine. They'll be fine. Just, I personally won't be playing on this lot because of all the bugs. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say in this one. I don't really know why I randomly switched to green and blue in the bedroom and then still furnished it with red. I don't know, you would think I would have gone for one of the red swatches. Oh, so this wallpaper though. You know how it has two swatches, right? One where the vines are curling one way and one where the vines are curling the other way, so you can either have them facing all the same direction, like I do here, or you can have them alternating like quote-unquote real wallpaper would. You can't do that with the curved walls, that's why I left it all facing the same direction, because you can't actually alternatively place on the wall segments because it's just one giant wall. Out here, I decided to do a little bit of gardening stuff, thought about placing the bike, but then that was an early purchase, like, reward item or whatever, so I ended up switching out for a picnic table. This one I cut out the floor plan because it took me forever. I was running into just the exact same issues and I didn't want to live through that again. Now the cabinets, this was a whole other struggle. They refused to place. I turned off move objects and everything and they would not snap to the wall. I ended up having to like pitch the camera down so I was looking up at the cabinets, and that was the only way I could get them to fasten to that wall. It felt like they were trying to jump through the floor to the wall above that didn't. Well, technically there's a wall above this one, but later you'll see I was trying to place stuff and it was trying to jump to the wall above that didn't exist anymore. The rooms weren't like technically rooms. I had to do that trick where you draw a wall and then you pick it up and move it into place. I had to do that a few times to get rooms. Again, my end goal was basically to get as much functional stuff as I can and then make the rest of it just look good and yeah, not play on this lot, as awful as that sounds. The little red mushroom, I picture like a cute little old couple living there. This one is set up for only 2 Sims, but it's much bigger. It has a full formal dining room, it has the full kitchen, it has like his and hers office space, it has the dining room. I already said dining room, the living room. So this one ends up being more of like a, if you're the rich people in the community, like you can't afford to maybe hire someone to live with you, so you're still part of the community, but you definitely have the fanciest mushroom on, well, it's not really a block, on the little dirt path. This is the only one that has 2 bathrooms as well, so these 2 are just single family sort of homes, and then the last one is apartments. So you do have sort of 3 different economic levels that you can move your old people into, and I should probably just call them elders instead of old people. Anyway, that you can move your elders into, and you can like set door locks on or off if you want, but it will fit a whole 8 Sims. So you can fit a full family of 8 Sims here. I don't remember with MCCC, I know you can increase your family size, but I think that's just for the played house. I think that if you try doing it for anyone else, it can get pretty buggy. Plus, it's only designed to fit about 8 Sims. So I recommend just sticking to that. This was a major issue for everything, having the office chairs properly slot into the desks. I ran into that issue with every desk I put down, actually, except for one, and that was just because it happened to be in the middle of a room. So if the desks are too close to the curved walls, it's really hard to slot the office chairs into, but I found for most things, if you're struggling with slotting, pitching the camera down so that you're sort of like more at the level that a sim would be, like at their eye level, it's actually a lot easier for things to place. I don't know why the camera placement matters, but it does, so just a heads up for that. Up here is where you can see I really started to slack on the decorating. Things weren't placing properly, it was getting weird. I was starting to realize that this build was going to take me a lot longer than I thought. Well, that's not entirely true. I figured it was going to take about 4 hours, and it did. It's just the terrain manipulation was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, and the furnishing was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So it still ended up being about the same amount of time, it just flipped on what I thought the main issue was going to be. Since these people don't have like a fenced in yard, I did do a little bit of a deck on the upper floor, which I thought was nice. When I placed that, I first tried to just like section off a room and delete it, but you can't really do that. Once you get rid of any of the walls for a rounded room, it pretty much just registers that as like part of the main room, and you can't really section it off again. So I ended up having to make another room, place it, delete it, and then add that little curved deck portion. So that was delightful. I did skip the floor plan making for these apartments, but that's what we're doing now. Again, because it was just really difficult, and you can see even there with like the tub bouncing through the wall, I had to be so careful and specific with how I was placing all of this furniture. Even the toilets, you can kind of see where my cursor is like outside the build. It was rough. This little 4-tile bathroom, by the way, highly recommend figuring out how to do those. It's the same formula every time. You have a door, across from the door you have a shower, in the corner next to the door you have the toilet pushed as close to the wall as you can get it, and then you have the sink and the mirror. Works great, it's an excellent space saver, and it lets you get a full bathroom in just 4 tiles. I was gonna say it doesn't work with toddlers, but now that we can wash toddlers in the sink, it does. It doesn't matter anymore, you just need a sink. So yeah, that's a great space saving and money saving bathroom. I was having issues again in this bedroom, even on the straight walls, trying to put up decorations. And then of course the kitchen. Oh, I think, was it this one? At some point I placed a sink, and then I came back later and the sink was gone and I had to replace it. I don't remember which kitchen it was. Maybe we passed it already. But yeah, the sinks disappear sometimes, apparently. Trash can, again, like being weird about placing even though it's not even on that rounded, like the round segment. The non-grid round segment that's, I don't know. I understand why they had to do it, like for the game mechanics, the way this game was formulated and all that stuff, but at the same time it is super annoying. I did try to get kind of cute with the decorations in here. I was still putting forth an effort, but it was definitely a little bit lower. So if any of you guys are big into decorating, this is a great lot for you to suffer through. Oh, also here, the corner cabinet doesn't like line up with the rest of the cabinets, and I assume it's because like the width is on I assume the width is off because the one side is touching a wall. I don't really know why that is, but it's a thing. Oh, and then like getting the TV on the counter, it wouldn't slot, even though I totally knew that it should be able to. So that was another thing where I had to be just special with my camera placement so that the TV would place. But all of these apartments have some sort of living space, dining space, they have a kitchen, and I think they all have a television and or a computer. I think one of them has both. This one was tricky. This is like the only way I could get it to work, was to have this weird little nook here, so I made it into sort of a storage space. I honestly don't even know if your Sims can get back there, but I just wanted to put something in there. And yeah, this apartment would definitely be the cheapest one of all of them. It's on the second floor, so you've got loud people above and below. Couldn't get the bar stools to slot, had to slot them from the reverse side. This one doesn't really have a living space. It does have the full bathroom, which is nice, just a single bed. And yeah, it's a little bit weird. I did put a computer in this one though, so you know those are in high demand. This person may be in a very small apartment, but at least they will have friends who will come over and use their PC. I know that some of the spacing in this room looks a little bit tricky, but again, anything that isn't bugged out because of the curved rooms works, and if it doesn't work, it's bugged out because of the curved rooms. At least everything that I could like reasonably test. This one I thought would be cute for a couple of like old lady friends whose husbands both died or something, so I decorated it for that. Someone who's more of a digital artist and someone who's more of a, I don't know, traditional media artist, I think is what that's called. So I added the rocking chair and the knitting stuff, the cross-stitching stuff, and then the digital art sketch pad in the other one. The living and kitchen space was a little bit weird in this one, but I did manage to get all of the kitchen stuff and a dining table with 3 whole chairs and a little couch and television and bookshelf and all that stuff in here. I know the floor plans are a little funky, but I feel like if you're moving into a mushroom-themed village, you're just gonna have to accept that the floor plan is gonna be a bit funky. Again, if you guys had any better solutions for any of this, let me know in the comments. I haven't just sat down to build in a while. I did that little bumblebee, which was a lot of fun. But other than that, most of what I've been doing over the last month, well, 2 months really, because I pre-recorded a lot, was just recording for tutorials. So I wasn't really like building and furnishing. I was making weird shells to like roof and stuff. So this was like a whole challenge on top of just not having built for a while. To get the chairs to slide in, I did have to pop them outside and then put them back in, but they work fine. I wanted this to be like a little bingo place, which obviously we don't have like a bingo ball shuffler thing, but I figured I'd do the little globe and the camera, you know, so we could like take pictures of the winners and all that, because bingo is very important. Added a little crafting space there with the rug. Some of the windows tried to glitch again, but I think I fixed all of them. I do recommend turning on move objects before you place this lot. You're not supposed to have to anymore, but every once in a while for some of these lots that are just that buggy, it is really helpful still to turn it on before you place it. Up here I put a bunch of chess tables and let's see, a telescope. I think I put some easels up here as well. And then I also did sort of a movie room on the top floor. I got this idea from TikTok actually. I posted like a roofing video of, I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was the oval from the roofing rounded rooms video. So I posted that. And I was like, what else would you like me to see out of this shape? Because I was going to make the bumblebee, which I did. And someone said mushrooms. And I was like, can you imagine a cute little village for old people made out of mushrooms? And then I just couldn't get the idea out of my head. So I made a cute little village for elders. Oh, by the way, this bathroom doesn't work. I can't make it work. I don't know why. It just won't work. Nothing's blocked. This is the one where I just put the toilet in the middle of the room. Still wouldn't work. So anyway, couldn't get the idea out of my head. So I built it. Built the little mushroom village for elders. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. But anyway, back to me being on TikTok. I'm on TikTok now. Handle is sahmandbean, no spaces or anything, same as the gallery ID. Or no, wait. No, I think there are underscores. Hang on. Yes, okay. So, YouTube is sahmandbean with spaces. Gallery ID is sahmandbean, all one word. Instagram and TikTok are sahmandbean with underscores in the place of spaces. Now you can follow me everywhere. I'll have links in the description too if it's easier. But I've started like giving roofing advice for people's specific builds on TikTok. I think it's fun. So if that's something you're interested in, I recommend letting me know there, because then I can just reply to your comment, make a little video. It's a lot easier than getting out. I mean, it's all on a desktop, but like breaking out the whole game and the recording stuff and the editing and all that stuff. So if you want a quicker response, I recommend finding me on TikTok. You can comment on a video, or you could also do the hashtag sahmandbean, no spaces or underscores, and I'll look out for you. That's just something a little fun. I wanted to lay down the path in just dirt before I started the landscaping. When you have a big build like this and you want paths for people to specifically walk on, it's really advantageous to mark out the paths first. I always use dirt because I put dirt under my paths anyway, and then you landscape around the paths so that people can't walk off of it because there are too many flowers or whatever. And then you go back through and paint again. So yeah, that's what I did. I'm not going to show you the whole landscaping process. I did use a handful of debug things, but not as many as I thought I would, mostly because of the terrain. I really appreciate having this terrain, but one of the issues with having so many changes in elevation and slopes is that you really need to place things that have a smaller grid footprint, and a lot of the debug stuff, even the smaller items, have a slightly larger footprint, so they'll place more wonky. And I didn't want that to happen, so I used a few debug things like those fences, those lamps that do light up, a couple of the trees, this little bus stop bench, I added that as well. So on the downside, that does bring up the lot cost. On the plus side, shouldn't really matter what the lot cost is, and if your lot is running slowly or whatever, you can just delete some of the landscaping. A lot of the stuff in the back is very, very layered, which could slow down the lot, but you're not going to notice it if you just delete it because it's at the back of the lot. I was also very liberal with a lot of the fireflies and dragonflies and things, which I think they turned out pretty well. I'll go in the game when this speedy part is done so that I can give you a tour, because I know we're zipping around and I can sort of show you some things. So again, I know this video is kind of long, but I appreciate you sticking through it, and hopefully this is giving you some ideas for some terrain manipulation, some rounded builds, all that stuff. Landscaping is always fun. I sort of did these same plants scattered all around, so that's why I figured I would just show you a little bit of how I started landscaping so you can see the plants that I used, and then we'll just do a little jump over to when it's done. Jump when it's done, there we go. And then I added dirt under everything, then added in stones for the path and all that, which I will show you in the game now. Alright, had to take a quick fruit snack break, but here we are. Here's the finished build. So we've got the little red-topped mushroom, which is the circle roof with a whole bunch of little circle roofs peeking through. We've got the big fancy one, the mushroom mansion, or the closest thing to one. We have 3 apartments stacked here, and then this is sort of the recreation tower. This little red mushroom is probably the one that I would move into. The kitchen does work. Here's another look at that larger one. There's a lot of open space. This is due in large part to the fact that stuff just wasn't placing very well. We do have some plants, a nice little formal dining area here. There is a half bath in this little space, and then the bedroom and full bath are upstairs. Again, really vacant. I was just really struggling to get furniture to work properly in this one, or I thought I was until I moved over to the apartments. So first floor, you come in over this side. The kitchen works just fine. A little living area. Nice big bathroom because we don't really have options. It's either large or absolutely tiny. And this little guy here. Here we sort of have a single person apartment. This uses that new swatch of the flooring that we just got with, I think this was the werewolves update. I really like this flooring. I think I will probably use it more often. And then this hallway loops around for more stairs, which I just realized I probably could have put the stairs facing the other way and made this a usable space, but I did not because I just thought of that. There's also supposed to be a fence here. Oh well. And then the top apartment, technically the largest tile space-wise, but has this little bathroom I was telling you about. So there's the layout. This is a super duper bathroom layout for just any sort of awkward space to make into a bathroom. And finally, the recreational tower tour. Lots of white in here. I wanted to keep it bright and light, except for, of course, this really dark swatch right here. I don't know. I was also building this in the wee hours of the morning, so I'm going to use that also as an excuse. Chess tables, painting table, telescope. I don't think you can die from the inside. And again, this bathroom isn't usable, which is kind of sad. So the closest bathroom that would actually work, unless I added some sort of public restroom thing down here, which might not be the worst idea, but I already uploaded the lot, would actually be this bathroom over here. And then you can watch some movies together. I know that stairs and elders don't usually go well together in real life, but in The Sims they don't seem to have any issues. So add a little bar, some little areas for people to lounge with one another, a whole pool for like water exercises and stuff. This build is available on the gallery. It's called Mushroom Retirement Town. I had a good time making this build. Would I do something like this again? Probably not. I will probably not make more round houses. I feel like I've hit my quota, but I will definitely be using round rooms in future builds. I cannot thank you enough for all of these subscribers we've amassed. I was going to be just over the moon to hit 100 by the end of July, and I'm thrilled that you guys are finding value in this content. I know I won't be posting a ton of tutorials for a little bit, but they'll be back. So if you're here for those, don't leave, they will be back. If you haven't already, I recommend checking out this video over here. This is about how to roof curved walls and different combinations. And then over here is a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you guys back real soon. Bye!